1. I've been in the hospitality business going on nearly 6 years now. Most of them spent working night audit, but most recently moved to front desk supervisor. Safe to say I have stories galore to tell, from the guests to co-workers that would add many of the stories that I have read previously. But my tale tonight comes from this year, as I still find it absolutely hilarious that this is still going on. Let's venture back to July 2022. Hotel is running rampant with ball teams at the wazoo. Cue the drunk parents that will not tend to their kids because this is their free time. Little crotch goblins are playing parkour from the furniture in the lobby to playing leapfrog in the parking lot, yet the rentals are too sloshed up to tend to them. So it is safe to say that my patience for ignorance and stupidity is to the brim. Mind you, this is going well on after what we consider quiet hours here at the lovely Podunk Chariot. I remind myself, smell the roses, blow out the candles, woosay moment, before calmly telling the tavern folk they need to take their evil little gremlins to the room before midnight, and remember to not feed them or let them near any water. For heaven's sake, no need to multiply more. I have run my nightly audit and gathered all paperwork, thinking for a split second that I was going to get a reprieve from the chaos that was occurring mere hours ago, when the phone rang. Cue the lovely new owner of the hotel, Mr. Patel. Now, I have been here 6 years plus, and I know well of the owners as well as the GM, AGM, OPs, managers of all the sister properties, as we are a franchised hotel. Call goes as follows. Thank you for calling. This is Joyous Night Auditor. How may I assist you? Hi, Joyous. This is Mr. Patel. How are you? No complaints so far. How can I assist you? Well, Joyous, I am the owner of the hotel, and see that there was a hiccup in you processing night audit. I'm going to need you to go into the system and get me a few things. Think you can do that for me? I know all too well what is going on, but I'm feeling in a bit of a mood, so I play along. Geez. Must be this new system that we put in last week. Sorry about that, boss man. You know how the Matrix can be a bit of a nuisance at times. That's alright, Joyous. Just need to get a few credit card numbers from you to make things go a bit more smoothly, so this won't happen again. Alright, boss, just walk me through the process, and I will get those digits to you right away. Well, see, I'm new to this whole system. You don't say. So, should I go into the highest pending folio and start with their credit card? I mean, we do have a corporate company staying here this week, and that credit card is on the same folio across at least 15 rooms, which is a good bunch considering we are such a small hotel. I knew I could count on you, Joyous. That's an excellent idea. So, I'm hitting random keys as I sip on my nightly cola. Mr. Patel, it seems I can't access the whole credit card for you with my credentials. But with you being the owner, yours would work. Want to give it to me? Then it'll be easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now, Joyce, you know I can't give that information. You mean like I can't give you credit card numbers, especially a guest's over the phone? I need those numbers to finish my report, though. I see your point, but if that's the case, you can just come up here and access the files yourself, right? Well, yeah, but I'm in a tight spot. Corporate really needs these numbers tonight. What numbers are you needing again? Credit card numbers, it's really important. For which group again? Can literally hear the frustration in his voice. Joyce, if you don't give me the numbers, you'll be fired. You know that. Oh, so should I clock out now and go home then? Just give me the numbers. Okay. This hassle is really not worth me losing my job over. 8, 6, 7, 5, 3, 0, 9. You're missing a few digits there. Am I? Joyous, this is crucial information. I agree, boss man. So are you going to give me the numbers or not? I don't really... This is your last night with the company. I will be talking to Joe Schmo in the morning about you. He hangs up. Safe to say, I wasn't quaking in my boots. I had a great old time with Mr. Patel. Now we fast forward to just moments ago, when you guessed it, Mr. Patel calls again. Thank you for calling. This is Joyous Night Auditor. How may I assist you? Hello, Miss Joyce. It's Mr. Patel. Internally, and probably externally, my eyes roll hard. I swear I saw my brain. Mr. Patel, what can I do for you? Well, I am the owner of the hotel. I need help crunching some numbers. By this time of night, I'm utterly exhausted, not to mention I have been here since 6 p.m. for the hotel's Christmas party, and I wasn't really into games tonight. But the Snyder side of me wanted to play along for shits and giggles. Oh, Mr. Patel, we missed you at the party tonight. How is the wife? Was she badly hurt in the accident? He's clearly taken aback for a moment. No, she's fine. That's good to hear. I mean, just last month she got in that fight with the trash panda. He said she got chewed up real good. Are you trying to be funny, Joyce? Most days I think I'm pretty hilarious, but then again, I talked to the hotel ghost, George. Which, by the way, he broke the elevator again. Joyce, have you been drinking? Boss man, you were the one that said it was okay for us to have some booze at the party. I couldn't let it go to waste. You can't be there if you've been drinking. Are you firing me, boss? No, you can't be there drinking. I can't believe you're letting me go over the phone. I'm sorry, Joyce, he hangs up again. I laughed maniacally at the sound. 2. For a little context, there were 2 of us working at the front desk the night this happened. It was later in the evening and a couple of guests walk in, each with their own individual room. My coworker started checking the first guest, Mr. Fancycoat, and I greeted and took care of the second guest, Mr. Smiles Kindly. Fancy was staying for 3 nights, while Smiles was staying for 7. All in all, a completely normal check-in for us both. It took me a little while to get Smiles Kindly in. He had asked for an upgrade to his room, and even though he wasn't any form of Precious Metal Club member, I was happy to check. But I wasn't able to, since his stay was for so long and we simply had no other types of rooms that were unbooked for that many days, which he was very kind and compassionate about. However, as I was handing him his key cards, Fancycoat turned to him and asked, "Hey, you're not a Precious Metal member, are you? Can I have your points?" Mr. Kindly said that was okay with him, and Mr. Coat slid his membership card with his number across the desk at me, asking if I could put his number on Mr. Kindly's reservation. Now, stuff like this happens to front desk workers. We get reasonable requests out of nowhere requests, and sometimes really weird things are asked from us. With me, I'm absolutely okay with people asking. It never hurts to at least ask, and this is no different at first. Unfortunately, it's breaking a lot of the rules to do something like that between guests. That's mostly if your metallic club number is put into the computers where I work. It will change the name and all personal information of the old guest, in this case Mr. Kindly, to that of the membership guest, Mr. Coat. So I started explaining to him that I unfortunately couldn't do that. "Yes, you can." Immediately I was taken aback, but I've been cut off lots before working here, so I managed to collect myself within a second or two, just bluntly saying, "No, can't." "Why?" I could easily feel my face flustering at this point, but at least now I could start explaining why. Adding your membership will change his name to yours, which we can't do for... That doesn't matter. Yes, I've done it before. All of this took maybe like 15 seconds. By this point, I'm only able to stammer slightly while he stared blankly at me, which I've never done at work before. I was being cut off so much that I couldn't even finish my own thoughts, let alone my own sentences. So my brain was just flatlining at this point on what to possibly say. After another solid 7 seconds of me being completely lost for words, I managed to feign a little bit of ignorance. With all due respect, I have never done this before and do not feel comfortable attempting this without my boss's permission. "Oh, well, that's different then. That's fine." My brain screaming silently. How is that fine and not the actual reason? I hadn't even finished up Mr. Kindly's check-in through this, so I finished him up, and my coworker and I directed them up to their rooms, my face feeling unbelievably warm the whole time. Thankfully, so far, my shift isn't over yet as I write this. That's where it ended. Thankfully, no big drama, no heavy arguing. They left the desk without too many more words apart from a nice thank you from Mr. Kindly. I've had past guests not believe me when I've told them no before, but never like this, so adamant in something that's such a massive breach of hotel policy, company policy, and safety for both Mr. Kindly and himself. If I had gone through the changing Mr. Kindly's name to Mr. Coates, then for 4 days we would have had a guest checked in under a completely different name, even if it added Mr. Kindly's name back to the reservation under an accompaniment. His personal information would still be gone. The receipt he would have gotten would not contain his info, but the personal information of someone else, which is a huge breach of several policies all by itself. If there was a fire and we had to account for the people in the hotel, there'd be a problem. If Mr. Kindly lost something, there'd be a problem. Even if we had to call him, there'd be a problem. Add to that the overarching fact that our hotel just doesn't allow a stranger to put his membership on the reservation of another stranger to begin with. I know this is a small lesson that's repeated here a lot, but if you go to a hotel and we tell you no to a request you have, 95 times out of 100, we know what we're talking about. 3. Starts off as your average Friday night in Texas. People checking in, asking if the bar is still open, yada yada yada. During one of the check-ins, I do my usual, "Alrighty, may I see your ID and credit card?" Guy checks his pockets, realizes he forgot his ID in his car, and I inform him that he cannot check in without a valid photo ID. Guy pulls up a picture of his ID on his phone, starts giving this story about how it's the best night of his life and was just married, and he left it in a garage 20 minutes away. And this is when things start to get sour. His newlywed wife pipes up that they're asking if we can just use his dad's ID and credit card for a new room, which I would have agreed to, by the way, and she asks why the photo of his ID on a phone isn't valid. She won't accept any answer I provide, so I get my supervisor. Supervisor rolls up and gives just about every answer I do. Love when this happens. Wife asks, "What's the difference between this and a real ID?" "The difference is what you just said." The husband gently grabs his wife's face. "Will you shut up?" "No, I want to..." At this point, I want to help other guests, so I stop paying attention to them. I'll give you a rundown. After a bit of back and forth, they get kicked out of the hotel, while their grandmother starts a whole tiff about, "What do you mean you're not renting to my son? Is it because he married a person of color?" And this whole time I'm thinking, wow, these men have awful taste in women. Anyway, after they leave, me and my supervisor start talking about how she drew attention to their ID and how it might have been fake either way. My supervisor is a hero, and I'm glad they got kicked out, because holy moly, this guy's new wife was a piece of work. You don't get to scream at employees at our hotel and keep your room. Our valet overheard the newlywed husband scream, "You ruined everything," at his wife. This is not the end of the Suxpedia wedding bonanza. The grandparents came back a few hours later, extremely drunk and belligerent. But this time it's the grandfather that lost it. I want to make it clear here that these people are not guests, and they do not belong here in any way, and the police have already been called to remove them from our property. But it's a city, so it's going to take about an hour for the police to get here. Guy rolls up to the front desk and asks me, "I need to speak to the supervisor about how your hotel is discriminating against us for our race." I told him to just wait a moment, as he's busy. Because he had already been told he's got to go, I just didn't bother. At this point, he had a phone out and was trying to record my supervisor, so I'm just at the front basically just saying, "Yeah, sit tight," while my supervisor is on hold with 911, and I'm doing my best to ignore him. During this time, this man is screaming in our lobby about how Wyatt discriminates against people of color, while I was answering calls, so I can't help other guests. I think the best thing he said after I went to the back office to start laughing was, "Wyatt is denying service to a black man. Everybody hear that? I want to purchase some Gatorade, but the supervisor won't sell us anything because I'm black. I want to buy a room. I want to buy this salad." This was a middle-aged white man. Anyway, after about 30 minutes of screaming at our security while they sit at a table in the back of the lobby, slamming our desks, unhanging all our phones, and placing just about all of our drinks on the counter, he leaves. And then the police show up, fashionably late, guys. You may be asking yourself, wait, you have security? Yeah. 4. Came in for my evening shift and was told about a room that we needed to collect incidentals from. Apparently it wasn't done the night before, and the guest had charged room service to her room, so now we need payment. I proceeded to lock the guest out. They come down and the interaction goes. My keys aren't working, I need new ones. I'm sorry about that, it looks like we need a card for incidentals, as we see you've had room service. Okay, I can pay for that now, I just need my keys. Okay, the amount on screen is to cover the room service and the rest of the deposit needed. She says okay and slides her card in, accepts the amount, then proceeds to scream, Wait, why was it so much? You told me it was just for room service. Return my money now. No, ma'am, I said it was for the rest of the deposit, including the room service. We need a card for the deposit regardless. You will receive the funds at checkout, since it's just an authorization. I start to have a little line forming now, and they're all watching this lady just scream at the top of her lungs. No, you were lying. You're stealing my money. I'm only paying for the food and want my money back. This is bullshit. I want a manager. Front office manager is off, and I'm the supervisor for today. I'm sorry that it wasn't collected last night, but it's hotel policy. We haven't charged anything, and what you don't use will be returned. Since you check out Sunday, if I release the funds now, you won't get them until then anyway. No, you lied and told me it was just for the room service. I'm not moving until you give me my money. I am beyond annoyed now, and we're doing that thing where we just stare at each other to see who breaks first. I say screw this and go get my general manager, give him the situation, and he came out. Ma'am, I'm the general manager, how can I help you? He told me I only needed to pay for my food and charged me more. I want my money now or I will call corporate. Well, you see, this is hotel policy to have a card down for the incidentals, and he was just collecting it since it wasn't done at check-in. If you call corporate, they will tell you the same thing as it's just a standard. No, I'm not paying that. I will check out and you will have to give me my money. This is bullshit. You guys lie and steal money. Now, my GM has had it because she is only screaming, and we have a lobby full of people. I slip up at one point when she calls me a liar and say, No, I'm not, I told you. And she starts yelling some more. I actually appreciated my GM's handling of it after this ordeal. He proceeds to raise his voice to match the Karens. Look, ma'am, you can check out, but all we do is release the funds. The bank will have to return it during the week. Or you can go back to your room and we will keep the authorization until you check out. Either way, you will not see the money immediately. Those are your only two options now. What would you like to do? She asked for his information and mine, went back to the room and didn't bother us for the rest of her stay. All this within the first hour of my shift. Gotta love when it starts like that. 5. I work at an airport hotel, and this week has been an absolute nightmare. We've been sold out every single night since Thursday, with a ton of no-shows and people bitching non-stop about cancelled flights. I've had about 20 people all bitch about how their Christmas is ruined because they couldn't fly into Buffalo to see their family. The airlines were encouraging people since Monday to reschedule their flights because the storm was predicted to be so bad and waived all fees. It seems like nobody changed their flights because Buffalo is buried in a ton of snow and all the roads are closed. But sure, we ruined their Christmas because they lived under a rock. The airlines just wanted to cancel their flights to ruin their holiday. Another family that was mad because they booked a cruise to leave yesterday, but their flight was cancelled to the port. The ship left without them, and they didn't buy travel insurance. Of course, it was our fault because they could have flown out on Wednesday, but that would have required a couple of extra days of lodging somewhere else. Apparently, at the front desk, we should have just found them another way to fly to their port. Wait time was at 2 hours for our restaurant. Guests asked, Since when couldn't they go into the terminal to get food? Apparently, September 12th, 2001 wasn't the correct answer, because they wanted us to force TSA to allow them to get food in the terminal. So many leisure travelers getting pissed when they ask how early they need to get to the airport, and you tell them 3 hours with these conditions, and at least 4 for international, and then them not believing you and missing their flight, and proceeding to blame you when their next flight is Wednesday, because the airline puts a priority on those who had a flight cancelled, and all queues for bag check and TSA are backed up from the glut of leisure travelers. The only upside to this property is we're unionized, but for working day after day with these conditions, we need more. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Coahw, episode 103. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Before you go, please do press the like button and share the video around with family and friends, and ring that notification bell. Okay, let's see. Let's move right along to Hellfreezer's question of the day. And today's question is: do you do anything fancy on the first day of the new year? Personally, for myself, I like to make a nice proper meal, usually a nice bit of steak, mashed potatoes, roast, all that sort of thing. And whenever possible, I prefer to not be working on that day, so I try to clear out that day as much as I can. Going to be a little more difficult cooking this year because my cooker went boom on Christmas Day. Well, technically it was a little past Christmas Day when I was making dinner, but I was making my Christmas dinner. I'm sitting chatting to my partner, and then suddenly, from the kitchen, I go in, everything looks okay. I check through, I think, okay, everything seems fine, I'll keep an eye on it. So I'll go back in a few minutes later to check on something, and eventually I realize that the light on the cooker is off. It's quite an old one. It would probably cost more to repair it than buy a new one. So I'm currently looking for a new cooker, which is my savings are going to be delighted by that, but well, it has to be done, right? Can't really do without it. Although I'll get by until I have one. I've got an air fryer, I've got a microwave, and I'll be fine until then. It's just very, very annoying. But do please let me know in a comment below, what do you like to do on the first day of the new year? Okay, with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.